What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another video and another weekly bodybuilding breakdown with myself, Xavier Wills, and Michael Galley. We have a bunch of topics to discuss today, including John Meadows, an update on his recent heart attack and how he's doing now, Mr. Olympia news, Keone Pearson versus George Peterson, how they'll go in the 212 and who would win out of these two bodybuilders, and also we pay tribute to Luke Sandoe and much, much more. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Welcome back to Desktop Bodybuilding. I'm Xavier Wills, and I'm joined as always by Michael Galley for the weekly bodybuilding breakdown. Mick, how you doing this week?
I'm good. I'm extra good too because the gym's open on Monday. It's Friday here in the States, Friday night. So a couple more days to go. So preparing myself for
3
Monday.
days out.
Yeah. I've had 10 weeks of bands, mate. So I'm itching to get under some weight, some reasonable weight.
Man, I bet that would drive me absolutely nuts. I've been blessed that we've got a pretty good setup in my backyard, but man, I've really started to feel for you after a while. And the way things were going in America, I was like, oh man, how long is he going to be out of the gym? Is it going to be 6 months or what?
I might have had to come back home to Australia just to be able to train. Then I'll come back here when things are good.
It's mind blowing that gyms are opening up where you are before they're opening up where I am, and we don't have one person in Western Australia with the coronavirus in hospital right now. We've had one case reported in the past probably 3 weeks. So I don't know why, but crazy. Our premier hates us.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I know that is pretty strict. I tell everyone over here, I said, you guys have got no idea how strict things are back in Australia, where I'm from. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
That is pretty crazy, but we've got plenty of bodybuilding news to get to, and we're going to try to bust this video out pretty damn quick today, because we're also going to do a Q&A video after this as well, which will go out probably a day or two after this one. So I hope you guys really enjoy that as well. But let's get into it. So we've got Mr. Olympia news. It was released during the week. Dan Solomon sort of let me know that this was going to drop, and it was pretty good news as well. I really like it. Like, some people thought it might have been Sean Roden competing, or it might have been Kai Green making a comeback, or Phil Heath or something, but it wasn't one of those in terms of competitors. But Dan Solomon did say that this is going to be the best Olympia lineup in, I think he said, over a decade. So that really does excite me, and it excites me for the fact that we might see some comebacks, whether it's Kai Green, whether it's Phil Heath, whether it's Sean Roden, whether we get Hardy back over here. There's lots of unknowns, and especially with this whole thing that's going on. Are we going to get all the international competitors over to America? Who knows? But we've got a new date and a new venue as well. So the new venue is the Zappos Theatre, which is in Planet Hollywood, which looks outrageously good, and it's scheduled for, I think, the 18th of December, so the 1 week before Christmas. And that's literally the perfect date, because if it's going to be the 2020 Olympia, it has to be in 2020, and that's the latest date you could possibly do, because then you got Christmas the next weekend, and then you got New Year's the weekend after, which I just don't think it would work on either of those. So firstly, what do you think of the new venue and the new date?
Oh mate, I'm wrapped. I've actually been to that arena before.
Oh, really?
I watched the show there a fair while ago, probably 10, 12 years ago now. But it is a hell of a lot better than New Orleans. I mean, the New Orleans did its job. You know, it's time for a change. I think everyone's pumped for a new venue. We're right on the strip now as well, which is great. There's no more catching Ubers or taxis. And then the worst part was, once the Olympia's finished, was trying to get an Uber or a taxi back into the strip. So I think it's a fantastic move. I think it's a great move as well that they've put it to the last possible date they could in December, to give everyone a chance to get through what's happening at the moment and to be able to prep properly. Yeah.
And I wonder if they was able to get that date just because it was so close to Christmas, and maybe some other events were like, oh, it's too close, or people will be spending money on Christmas. And it makes me wonder if, you know, how it will be attended, and if, you know, we don't know what the attendance is going to be like in terms of what they're able to do and what they're not able to do. But it did sound like as well that the actual expo is going to be moved as well, to somewhere closer. So that's really exciting too. So who knows if it will be the same size, if it will be downsized, or what they're going to do, if it's going to be more streaming rather than crazy amounts of people in attendance. Who really knows? But I think that's great news. And they've got a new, the qualification series is people can qualify up to the 10th of October now. That's the cutoff date for the qualification series. And the contest schedule has been updated and put out again because we've got some shows that have been completely cancelled, some that have been put off to 2021, and others that have just changed dates. So I'll go over a few key dates that we're going to talk about now. We've got the shows that are cancelled. We have Indy Pro, that's cancelled until 2021. Toronto Pro cancelled until 2021. We have the Mr. Big Evolution show, which is in Portugal, that has been cancelled. It doesn't even say rescheduled to 2021. And the Vancouver show says cancelled as well. So hopefully that doesn't mean those shows are off permanently, because the other ones say rescheduled to 2021. These ones say cancelled. So hopefully that doesn't mean permanent. So then we've got a bunch of other. The first one that is scheduled but is still on the calendar is the Wings of Strength Tampa Pro, and that is on the 31st of July to the 1st of August. So that would be the first show. And then after that, we've got another, I think, 3 weeks. And then we've got the Monster Gym Korea Pro after that in South Korea. We've got one in Puerto Rico the following weekend of the 29th of August. And we've got a whole bunch of other shows, including the New York Pro, the California Pro, that's in September. We've got a whole bunch. So including as well the EVLS Prague Pro, which is on the 26th of September, and they're giving away $80,000 in prize money, which is really cool. And we can still actually see that the Athleticon show that's meant to be on is still actually on the list. It just says 2020 IFBB Pro Men's Bodybuilding. It says Atlanta, Georgia, Robin Chang. Doesn't say the prize money. That's meant to be on the 10th of October if it goes ahead, but we haven't heard anything out of Athleticon, so I have big doubts that that's going to happen being a first-year show. What do you think about that?
I agree. I can't see that going ahead, especially seeing as we've heard nothing at all.
Yeah.
No lead up to it. Nothing about the venue at all. So I can see this definitely just being postponed to next year.
Yeah,
sure.
Which sucks, but it is what it is. So some awesome news then, and let's move on to the next topic we've got. So tons of people, I put a video up recently about Kai Green, and I didn't break the news because someone on Instagram, sorry, I don't have his name right now, but you'll see it on the screen as I'm talking about it. He basically said, this Kai Green thing, he thinks that it's an old video. It shows Kai Green has a gap in his tooth in, his old, he previously used to have a gap in his tooth. He had a gap in his tooth in the actual posing video, and now he has literally perfect teeth, no gap whatsoever. So it sort of says to me, this is old footage. I think it almost is pretty obvious, unless he's got some sort of bridge thing that's covering it or something like that he's got put in and taken it out in between and doing his posing video. I don't think that's the case. I think it's old. He looks just like he did in 2016 for that Arnold Classic. And people hated that I actually even reported on Kai Green because people are fed up, man. And the funny thing is, Dan Solomon came out and he sounds like he's about fed up with... He classified it as he talked about, any bodybuilder that sort of teases the fans of a comeback. He said that, I don't know if he said it is disrespectful or it could be seen as disrespectful, but he sounds like he's almost fed up with it. And that sort of leads me to believe that Kai Green won't be competing potentially ever again at Mr. Olympia, or at least in 2020. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree exactly with what Dan said. I thought that was a great interview we did with Dave the other day when he was talking about it. And I can see exactly where he's coming from. I'd feel the same. If I was a promoter of the biggest show in the world, I'd feel the same way. And I think you're right. The fans have probably had enough as well. We see it all the time go up on social media. And I felt bad about that video too that came out because I thought, that's current. How awesome does he look? And then to find out that it's possibly not how he looks, then I feel cheated again.
Yeah. So I did a video on it initially, then Nick Strength and Power came out, I think the next day, and then put it out there as well. So I think now, because obviously Nick Strength and Power is a giant channel, everyone's pretty much seen it now. And I think after that, then Dan was like, he was probably just like, oh my God, I'm over this. Because he'll be getting asked non-stop, is Kai doing it? Is Kai doing it? And he's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I'm going to run the footage of that right now so people can actually just watch exactly what Dan Solomon said. And it's pretty damn interesting as well.
First of all, I got to ask you right off the bat, is Kai Green going to do the Olympia? Is that on the table?
It's funny. I know you love the clickbait, Dave.
That clickbait, that's what people want to know. Really know. Everyone knows all the details already. People want to know, is Kai Green going to do what I want to know? Dan Solomon, I know you. You're a marketing genius. I know that you know that Kai will bring people in those seats, eyes to the website and the webcast. Is Kai Green on the table still?
Well, let's talk about Kai for a moment. I'm glad you brought it up. So when it comes to what Kai is going to do tomorrow, next week, and of course we're talking about 7 months from now, your guess is as good as mine. However, with that said, I take exception to some of this stuff with regards to Kai. And by the way, I'll qualify this by saying I love Kai as a human being. Mm-hmm. I respect him as a bodybuilder. He is exceptional for our sport, and people respond to Kai in big ways. And so Kai has my utmost respect. With that said, Kai, I got to be honest. I always think about the fans with everything that we do. Right. And it's always the way I've operated. And I take exception to any athlete who dangles the carrot that they're going to compete just for their own entertainment. I got to be honest with you. I think it's very disrespectful to the fans. I think it shows very little appreciation for the decisions that fans have to make when they're deciding how they're going to spend their money. Sure. And I can tell you that everything that I've always done with regards to projects that I've been a part of, and I know that you subscribe to a similar way of thinking, it's all about delivering value, and you try to respect the dollars and cents that the consumer invests in the things that we all do. And I don't really appreciate when an athlete plays games with the emotions of the fans. Personally, this has been going on for a long time. It's been going on for years. And we continue to have to answer questions about whether or not Kai is or isn't. I did see that as soon as the announcement went out, Kai actually chimed in with some very kind things. He seems like he's very excited about the direction of the Olympia, as are many people. We're very proud of what we're doing. But I don't really like it when an athlete, whether we're talking about Kai or anyone, is anything less than sincere with the fans.
So there it is, straight from Dan Solomon. But let's move on. Let's talk about John Meadows, who recently suffered a heart attack. And, you know, it seems like these things come in at least pairs or triples when it happens, because we had it when, you know, Dallas McCarver passed away and Rich Piana. That seemed to happen a few days apart from each other. We had obviously Luke Sandoe tragically pass away. And then a few days later, John Meadows suffered a heart attack and was in hospital. And John Meadows, the good news is about John is that he's out of hospital. He's home now, but it sounded like it was touch and go there for a bit. And they, you know, he was under a bench or something like that. And he said he felt, you know, the pain and all that sort of stuff. And he got in the actual ambulance and they said, you're having a heart attack right now. Like, and he thought to himself, this could be my last day on earth. And I just can't imagine actually going through that experience personally, but it's cool that John actually came out, did a video on his YouTube channel. The link is going to be in the description as well. So go over and watch that. It's got like, I think he put it up 10 hours ago and it's got 137,000 hits or something. So people obviously love John and they want to see what actually happened with John. And I love that, you know, he's going to make a little bit of extra money off this through YouTube revenue, which I think he more than deserves after having a heart attack. So I think it's so cool that he's home now, and I hope that he makes just a complete full recovery. But since the heart attack, it sounds like it's been pretty good news for John.
Yeah, I watched that YouTube footage he did today. So it was good to see him, you know, like he seemed all right, obviously a little bit shaken. But when he mentioned in the gym how he felt with that sharp pain in the stomach, in the chest and things like that, that's pretty scary. You know, like that. And good on him for actually identifying it and getting help. Because there's some guys that would actually, they just, oh, no, I'm good.
He was sort of doing that. And then he realized, he's like, nah, it's not time to be a tough guy. Nah, like, you know, sort of do the right thing. You know, don't just be like, it's all good. And it's lucky he did, man, because he might have died otherwise.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's very scary. So, but as I touched on a second ago as well, Luke Sandoe's passing, which is obviously tragic news. And the good, you know, there is some good that comes out of the whole raising of a mental awareness, mental health and all that sort of stuff, and the awareness on that, which is a good thing because a lot of people are going through tough times right now with the whole corona thing. And my understanding is that Luke actually wasn't able to, I suppose, get the help that he's normally getting because of his whole corona thing, which is really, really sad, man. And that's one thing that really does upset me about it, that if this whole thing didn't happen, he might have been able to get the help he needed. And it sucked that he wasn't actually able to do that. But it's amazing to see the outpouring of emotion. The amount of people that said they watched my video about Luke's, or one of my videos about Luke Sandoe, and actually cried watching it and stuff. And it's like, these people didn't even know Luke personally, and they were so affected by it because they've been listening to his podcast, watching his videos for years now. And now that, you know, they feel like they know him personally, and now he's gone, it really broke a lot of people's hearts in bodybuilding. And I just can't imagine, obviously, what Ben and Fuad and his family and his kids and stuff are going through right now. And it's just a tragic thing. So I just want to raise that mental health awareness thing. We've spoken about it. I've spoken about it a fair bit already, but also donate to Luke's family as well, his kids. The link is going to be in the description as well, so please find it in your heart to donate. But Mick, it's pretty crazy to see how, I suppose, the bodybuilding community has reacted to this.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Even for the people that hadn't met Luke at all, if you just watched the podcast, he was just a good guy. You know, he was one of those approachable guys. So when he spoke, he actually wanted to listen to what he had to say, and he always had an opinion on everything, which was great. And yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough to I got to interview him a couple of times backstage at the Aussie Arnold's 2018, and he was cool as. Yeah. So yeah, tragedy, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's great obviously what Fuad's done, and what Fuad even has done for John as well. He said, look, I'm going to do a Q&A, get that out on John's channel, keep his YouTube going and stuff. So it's cool how he's rallied behind, setting up the thing for Luke Sandoe's GoFundMe, helping out John and stuff like that. So I said to Fuad, I sent him a message. I said, man, it really shows your character, the fact that, you can feel sorry for yourself if you wanted, but you don't, and you're actually doing things to help. So I said that shows a lot about your character. So I was very impressed with all of that as well. So there is some good that comes out of it, thankfully. But let's move on. Let's discuss something a bit more, I suppose, positive, I guess. So we're going to talk about George Peterson and Keone Pearson and their move to the 212. Now, I discussed this briefly with Keone Pearson, more specifically about his move to the 212 and how he's looking right now. And he's looking outrageous, which is really, really good to see. George Peterson released some photos just the other day in a bit of a video, which you can see now on the screen. And he looks outrageous as well. And he's actually checking in his coach's backyard. So that's what it's sort of come to. Like, he walks over to his house, checks in his backyard, cool, takes off, So I think that's really cool. And he's looking like an absolute freak. But it's interesting because I'm wondering who will make the better transition to the 212, short term and long term. So what's your opinion on, firstly, short term, if they're both to compete later this year, and long term in the future in the 212?
I'm going to stick with George for both, to be honest with you. Yeah. George is a freak. His back, pound for pound, is probably the best back at the moment on the scene. Yeah. He's carrying some serious muscle, but his condition is next level. So not only has he got the muscle, he's got the condition to go with it. Plus, he's got pleasing shape. So he's really going to just shake it up and do some damage, mate. I follow him on Instagram, and every time he puts up pictures of his back or back to a bicep or doing a lat pull down, I just sit there looking at it, shaking my head, going, that's nuts. He has got some serious, dense muscle.
Oh yeah, that's exactly the word for it, dense. He's got that density, he's got the veins through his back, and that muscle just looks so thick and mature. Like, it's almost hard to explain what it looks like. And Keone Pearson's, he's almost the opposite of that. Like, Keone, he'll get in pretty good shape, and you'll see some lines and stuff, but you won't see that same crazy detail, that hard, dense, mature muscle, because Keone is so young. He's only about 25 now. Maybe he's 26, I'm not sure, but Keone's still developing that muscle. He's got that new, fresh muscle, which in its own way looks good. It looks aesthetic, and it's very pleasing to look at. But George has that dense, grainy, hard sort of muscle that I think is preferred, really. It's preferred in classes like the 212 and open bodybuilding. So I think short term, George Peterson for sure. In the future, maybe Keone Pearson, as he develops and gets harder, maybe when he's about 30 years old, maybe he'll have a different look. And with that crazy tiny waist, those round quads, those big arms, like his front double bicep, like George Peterson's back double bicep is probably going to be the best in the 212. Keone Pearson's front double bicep is probably going to be the best front double bicep in the 212. So they both have their strengths. They both have their slight weaknesses too. So I think long term, maybe Keone Pearson. Short term, George Peterson for sure.
Put it this way. If they're both on stage together and they're both going through the mandatory poses, and you look at them, you look at Keone and you'd be like, wow, he looks really good, beautiful like that. And then you look at George, and it'd be the sort of thing where you'd be like, whoa, what? Like it's just next level the way he presents it, because it's that real dense, hard muscle look. So they're different but the same in retrospect as well. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to seeing them on stage.
Likewise, and just the density. I think just like you're going to see Keone, and you're going to see him come out by himself, and you're going to go, oh, he can win this. And then you're going to see them put together, and that's when you'll see the difference. Like, the best way I sort of like to explain it is George Peterson is going to be granite, and Keone Pearson's going to be conditioned. You know what I mean? It's like there's two different sort of looks.
That's perfect, I think, yeah.
And I can't wait to see that battle, man. I think they're going to be sort of battling in that top 5 in years to come in that 212. And I think this is I suppose the new coming of the 212, because we sort of had that, the guys like Flex Lewis, the guys like Jose Raymond and stuff, they're out of the 212 now. And we've got this next group coming in. And now Eduardo Correa, he's had another big injury too, so he's going to be out for a bit. Yep. So we're missing a few of those guys. So it gives great opportunity for Keone Pearson, George Peterson, Angel Calderon, Aaron Polides, all those guys coming up and moving up. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But we've run a little bit over compared to what we was going to say. I just want to say happy birthday to Derek Lunsford, who's a top 212 guy right now as well. And Ronnie Coleman had his birthday the other day as well. So I want to try to do that on these episodes, give a few like birthday shout outs as well for people. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode of a weekly bodybuilding breakdown with myself, Xavier Wills, and Michael Galley. Also, I just want to mention to you guys, if you want to save 10% on hostile supplements or apparel, use ZAVE10 XAV and the number 10. The link is in the description as well, and you'll save 10% off your order. Literally, I think the products are mind-blowing. I used them again last night, like the Intra R3 and the Bloodshot, and my pump was ridiculous, and I've actually downsized a bit at the moment, but I felt just as big as I felt before, so I'm happy with those. So make sure you use those. And that's it for another episode. There is a Q&A coming up. It'll be up either tomorrow or the next day with your guys' questions as well. So make sure as well you check out the actual group we've got going on Facebook, because I'm actually going to make that Mick a bit more interactive now. So we've got the group on there, and it's going to be, I'm going to allow posts from other people, because initially it was just to basically give people notifications of new videos or if I've got a question in there. But now I'm going to allow posts from other people. So if you have bodybuilding news, anything like that, post it in that group, request to join the group. It's just Desktop Bodybuilding. You should be able to find it on there, and I'll put the link in the description as well. So I want to get that going and get a heap of members in there, get like a really cool community going, because we've got tons of awesome followers that really support the channel, and I want them to be able to have their say and have really good discussions in that group on Facebook. So make sure you join that. So for Xavier Wills and Michael Galley, if you like this video, smash the thumbs up button and like it as well. Also subscribe, hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up for myself. And obviously Michael Galley for a weekly bodybuilding breakdown. So that's it. For Xavier Wills and Michael Galley, we are out.